This is Albion Online's do's and don'ts, things that you should be doing while playing the game, and things that you should not be doing while playing because it's either inefficient, highly dangerous, or will cost you more silver than you will earn. Let's get into it. One of the first things that you should do while playing is find out what it is that you enjoy doing. Do you love gathering? Do you like chopping trees all day? Do you like running dungeons? Do you like doing corrupted dungeons? Do you like doing arena? Find out what it is in this game that you absolutely enjoy doing and you can tolerate doing for many hours, and then do it and do it well. Find out what it is that you enjoy most from this game and then seek to improve your character in that targeted subject. So if you like to go roaming around in the black zone, you'll have to figure out what kind of build that you prefer to use. You'll need to make friends because going to the black zone solo is basically suicide. And you'll have to figure out the optimal skills to use in whatever it is you're doing. Like if, for instance, if you love corrupted dungeons, then you're probably going to run one of the meta corrupted dungeon builds, and you're going to need to be able to buy and afford that gear, and you're going to need to be able to afford it if you die multiple times. That is something that you should be doing, is do what you enjoy doing. Don't get caught up by what Redditors tell you that you need to be doing. You don't need to join a guild and be used and abused. You don't need to go to the black zone as a solo to gather. You don't need to go into corrupted dungeons using a weird slow clearing build that takes you 15 minutes to clear the dungeon when you can clear it in like 4 to 5 minutes with a more optimal build, just because you might win a certain popular matchup at the time. Don't feel peer pressured to do certain things in the game that you absolutely hate. If everyone tells you, oh, go to the Avalonian roads, they're really good, but every time you go, you just get absolutely murdered by groups of gankers, you never find a single chest worth opening, you find no dungeons available, then obviously it's not something that you should be doing, because just because someone tells you that you need to be doing it doesn't mean that you actually do. If you don't find it fun, you don't find it profitable, you aren't seeing a higher return in your investment of time, then don't do it. It's that simple. Now, for longer-term players, something that you should be doing is setting up a safety net so that you never technically go broke. This can be investing in gathering gear, a gathering set, gathering levels. You can invest in laborers and journals. You can invest in crafting. You can invest in wolf and cat skins, which tend to go up year after year. You can invest in a nice 8.3 set to farm yellow zone content, which you will never ever lose that 8.3 set, and it will maximize your efficiency. There's so many different ways to set up a little safety net so that you can never go broke, so that you can always afford premium, and you can always afford multiple premiums. I have hundreds of farms, hundreds of guild islands full of laborers. I've got tons of skins in storage, billions of silver stocked away, and even I still feel the sting if I go into the black zone throwing away gear sets. Alright, because I have this safety net, I'm allowed to do basically anything I want in the game with no true worry of ever not having enough silver to ever afford anything. So, I'm not saying that you have to go balls to the wall crazy and become super rich, but what I am saying is that you need some sort of safety net so you're not a naked player sitting in town begging for silver, hoping that someone will bail you out from the kindness of their own heart. Whereas if you die, you can just re-gear, go out again infinitely, you can go do a farming activity and make tons of silver to make up for any losses you might incur, and so on. Do not gamble everything that you have. Do not gamble your entire net worth. Do not go out into dangerous black or red zones thinking that because you're wearing superior gear to everyone else that you're somehow a god, you're unkillable, and that you will make money back. I'm going to tell you right now that you can be in full 8.3 and maximum spec across the board, and you're still going to lose to a group of 3 players who know what they're doing, because you're simply outnumbered, you're simply crowd controlled, you're hard countered, you're not going to be able to defeat those 3 players. Yes, there are some instances where streamers and YouTubers do show and their cherry-picked clips where they just go in and like 1v5 a whole team of baddies and stuff, but that's not normally the case. By just going out into these black zones with your high-tier gear, you're basically walking into the most criminal-infested gangster, like baddest, worst part of town in the middle of the night by yourself, while wearing gold chains and Rolexes and showing off your wads of cash. Of course the gangsters are going to beat you up and take it all. That's exactly what Albion Online is. It's a bunch of marauding gangsters hanging out with each other, and when you encroach in their territory, especially with lots of bling, they're going to beat you up and take it from you, alright? So there is no reason that you should ever make big gambles, or any kind of gamble, like transporting millions of silver to and from, like, Caerleon. That's a huge gamble. You need to factor in, if you lose this transport, are you going to be okay? How many hours of time are you going to be losing if you die to this, okay? Yes, if you transport millions of silver worth of goods from a town to Caerleon for, like, the black market or crafting or whatever, yes, it's a huge return on silver. It's possibly the best way to make silver in the entire game. However, it's also the fastest and easiest way to lose all that silver too, because it only takes a few people to dismount you and kill you and take your entire haul of goods, and then you're bankrupt, you're gone, you're done. Alright? You should only ever risk it if you truly have the capital to back it up. I'm telling you right now. And yes, risk does equal reward sometimes, but it generally in this game, it just means a bigger jackpot, okay? If you're farming safer zones, you can't get tier 8 gear to drop, and you won't get as many big drops as often, that is true. However, if you're spending more time re-gearing, respawning in town, riding out to the deep parts of the black zone, constantly being killed and camped by groups of players, you're losing more time and more efficiency than if you just stayed in the yellow zones and farmed. Alright, one thing you should be doing is when you are doing an activity, you should maximize your efficiency if you plan to do it a long time. What I mean by this is if you're running dungeons, especially in the save zone, there is absolutely no reason not to run the most powerful, best, and fastest clearing gear that you possibly can. Alright, there is no reason to use a lesser tier of items, and don't tell me repair bills, because let me tell you, wearing higher tier gear means you have to repair less often, and in higher tier gear, you won't be downed, okay? If you are being downed in 8.3 gear, you are doing something wrong. This game might not actually be for you. Alright? Also, with that said, if you are gathering, you should wear a full gathering set, because you are just being very time inefficient, okay? Without a gathering set, you are taking almost 4 times as longer to get the same results that you could be getting if you just put on the gathering set. There's no reason to be fully combat ready if you're gathering in a safe zone. You really shouldn't waste your time with wasteful activities, and Albion Online has plenty of wasteful activities, alright? Wasteful activity number 1 would be heart transports. You can do anything else in the entire game and make more silver per hour than doing a heart transport. Heart transports are only in the game as a means to generate hearts if the other faction does not simply generate hearts. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say the game starts to really die out in population, and there's just no one in Thetford anymore doing faction stuff to get Thetford hearts, okay? You can do a faction transport mission and generate Thetford hearts with other faction hearts. It's just simply a stopgap in the game so that, you know, there's not a complete emptiness of the economy. That's the only reason it exists. By doing faction heart transports, you exemplify massive risk to your character and the hearts, because if you get ganked, you do lose them. You get almost no silver worth the time invested to do it. If anything, the only people really doing it are bots, new players, or people extremely bored with nothing better to do. You can say that it might be worth doing if you cross into black zones, and or red zones rather. That could be arguable, but there is still far more efficient and better money-making methods out there. Also, faction heart transporting, even though it gives you the least amount of silver for the activity, it gives you no combat fame, it gives you no gathering experience, it doesn't do anything at all to improve or increase your character's power, so there's honestly no reason that you should do this activity. Other wasteful activities would include stuff like being a solo player in the black zones, okay? Yes, you could get lucky and not get bothered with, but the majority of time as a solo player, not in a guild, you will absolutely be bullied and murdered and hunted the second you are scouted in the black zone, regardless of how good or bad your gear is. Once you get a large amount of silver, you should start investing it. Don't just sit on your silver and do nothing. What you should do is invest that extra silver into things that you like. If you like speedrunning dungeons, How about speedrunning group dungeons as a solo? If you like farming or raising animals, how about investing into more alt characters with premium so that you can own more islands so that you can grow more crops, okay? You can invest your silver into learning to craft better and more expensive things more efficiently. You can invest your silver into skins, especially cat and wolf skins, as those are the best currently and have been for the past 3 years. You can invest in all sorts of other fun activities and things that will improve and continue to improve your character over the years. Because remember, Albion Online is a marathon. It is a very long-term game. Think of this like EVE Online. Do you know how old EVE Online is? Imagine if you started playing EVE Online when it first came out in its first 5 years, and where you would be in that game if you continued to play and invest smartly now. So, while Albion Online is only 5 years old, imagine how much richer you can be if you have those cat and wolf skins 10 years from now, assuming you're still alive. Speaking of investing, do not ever all in on your investments, okay? Do not spend all of your silver investing. You should never go broke when investing. Do not build hundreds and hundreds of guild islands or sink thousands and thousands of silver into something because a patch, you know, a change in the meta, perhaps a nerf, perhaps some sort of, you know, future game change. Maybe a company might buy out Stillfront and then change the game in ways that we can't even imagine. And if you all in your silver into like something stupid like gold or crappy skins or equipment or even mounts, you might find yourself losing money because of deflation, because this game has had deflation happen a few times before. Currently, we are in an inflated market. I'm on the test realm. I can't see the gold values. It was like 10.5 million last I checked. But you should never all in your investments. Always keep some extra money on the side just in case things go crazy so that you're not completely broken out on the streets. If you are still learning Albion Online, then one thing you should do is to do your research, but also you need to practice to see if the research is still relevant. What do I mean by this? If you go to Reddit and someone gives you advice and tells you that the fastest dungeon clearing weapon in the game is the Great Axe, then what I want you to do is go onto the test realm and try out the Great Axe at max spec at different weapon power value levels and see, is it really the fastest, you know, dungeon clearing weapon in the game? Is it? Then try out some other weapons to see if their claim is valid. Because maybe at one point in the game their claim might be valid and they haven't played in a long time, or they're stuck in their ways and they personally believe it is the fastest clearing dungeon weapon ever, in which case it no longer is, okay? And also, patches change over time, things happen, so like, always do your research, even on videos that I post. Like, if you look at some of my videos from a year ago, I'm showing tier 5 yellow zone dungeons making me upwards of like 3 million silver an hour, and now if I try that, I can maybe get 500,000 silver per hour. This is because of the changes made to the black market. This is because of all the black market bots no longer, you know, being in functioning order or just quitting the game. The RMTers leaving the game in droves, so they have no reason to run black market bots, which means less gear overall being distributed by the black market, which means less profit for people doing those dungeons, okay? But the thing is that even though the yellow zone dungeons did suffer, so did all of the other dungeons and all of the other treasurable activities in the game. So it's still profitable when you compare it to everything else. But like I said, you have to do your research. You have to do your testing, okay? You can't just take everything at face value immediately, all right? It's that simple. One thing you should not do is be stuck in your ways, all right? Weapons change over time, metas change, things just get altered over time. This is to coincide with the last point of what you should be doing, is doing your research to make sure what you're doing is still efficient and good. Anytime there's a new claim of the fastest weapon to clear a dungeon, or the fastest way to do something, or the best way to make money or whatever, you know, at least give it a try. Hop on that test realm, see if it really is or isn't. You might be surprised at what some people find out. For the longest time, I believed that the best speed clearing weapon and combo in the game is the Spectre Jacket with the light crossbow, and it was, and it still is for lower tier dungeons, but when I put it into practice, into testing at higher tier, higher risk dungeons, it is not the fastest clearing weapon. It actually turns out to be the nature staff, which is weird because it's a healing weapon. And for all I know, by the time that you see this video, or somewhere in the future, a year from now, if you're seeing this video, hopefully you're seeing this video in a year, who knows, right? But the point is that maybe it got nerfed at some point. Maybe it gets nerfed. Maybe there's a new weapon in town that's even faster and better, like a lightning staff or a gun or a necromancer wand, or who knows? I don't know. But you have to do your research. You don't be stuck in your ways, okay? Like 5 years from now, this game is going to change a lot, and I may not be using a light crossbow and specter jackets to run dungeons anymore, but who knows? Maybe it won't change at all. I don't know. Alright. One thing you should do is be yourself. It is absolutely soul-crushingly miserable to play an MMORPG and to try to pretend to be someone that you're not just so you can fit in with whatever stupid guild you might have joined or whatever gaming group that you're trying to be part of. Like if you're trying to join that hardcore expedition communist Discord and, you're pretending to be pro-communism and pro this and pro that just so you can get into the groups so that you can get that extra fame and silver from doing hardcore expeditions. It's not worth the soul-crushingness of pretending to be someone that you're not. Just be yourself, and you might find people that are like-minded and like you, or you might not. You might not find anybody, and that's okay. Because maybe it just means that society is just too far gone for you or something. I'm not sure, but trust me, if you long-term play an MMORPG and you pretend to not be yourself, at some point you're just going to snap, and it's not going to be good. It's going to be wasting everyone's time, including those people that you pretended to be someone that you're not. It's just not pretty, and it's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your in-game health either. Just don't bother. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Do not chase virtual greed. 10 years from now, okay, I know I did a 10 years from now reference earlier in the video, but 10 years from now, no one is going to care about your PvP fame. No one's going to care how much gold or silver you have in this game. No one's going to care about your spec. No one's going to care about, that you won some guild season. Like, I don't even, like, no, who cares? Who cares now? Do not chase virtual greed by putting yourself in situations that make you miserable, okay? So that means don't join a guild full of people that you don't recognize or have anything in common with. Do not join a guild with people who use you for their own war efforts and give you nothing. Do not join a guild because you want to, farm in their black zone or have their hideout access or have cheaper crafting prices. It's not worth the sacrifice that you have to deal with to chase your virtual greed. You should not be virtual greedy at all. The game should be about making epic and fun memories and not so much worrying about how your in-game bank statements look and how much gear and bling that you get. It'll make you miserable 10, 20 years from now. I'm trying to tell you right now, take it from someone who's been gaming his whole life. If you chase virtual greed over memories, you will not be happy when you're older. You won't have any cool stories to tell in the virtual VR old folks home that your robot grandchildren will put you into, okay? We're all gonna live in the pod. Okay, guys, that's all I got for this video. I'm Soul Benji, thanks for watching. As always, be a bro and stay swole. I read every single comment, and I make a video every day. So what that means is that you need to leave a comment, because I will read it, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss tomorrow's video. You can leave a monetary donation by clicking the thanks button down below. The donation will be made public in the comments section, and everyone will see it, so it's a really powerful flex if you are rich in the real world, and want to help me out by giving me something more to eat than beans and rice. With that said, thank you so much. You can also become a channel member, $5 a month, access to private, more personal videos. I've got some really cool videos that I don't want to share with the public that are super good for Albion Online. If you want, there is a playlist in the pinned comment. Click the playlist. Check out those videos. If one of them interests you, feel free to pay that $5. It's like being subbed on Twitch, but it's on YouTube. It's way better, way cooler, and it helps me out tremendously. Thank you so much to all my channel members, and thank you for watching. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Take care. Alright, only 5% of you actually watch the very, very end of my videos, and I'm just going to leave this here because I hate doing this. I hate begging, but my entire life and career highly depends on having games to play to be able to monetize through YouTube. So with that said, there are 3 games in particular that I absolutely need in order for this channel to continue functioning and surviving, alright? That is Foxhole. You can buy it on Steam for 30 bucks. Now this one, I'm probably not going to last long. I'm probably going to get banned pretty quick on, but I do appreciate if you help me out with that. Modern Warfare 2 on Battle.net. It's 60 bucks. You do have to add me on Battle.net and be my friend for 3 whole days before they will let you gift this to me. So join the Discord if you're interested. Link is in the description. And the final game is Hogwarts Legacy. I do need the early access version, so it's like the more expensive, variant. That's why I put 80 bucks on the screen. It might be less. I don't know, but I think Modern Warfare 2, which comes out in late October, and Hogwarts Legacy, which comes out in February, are the only 2 games that are going to be very, very highly watched. I did play the Shadows of Mordor game and made tons of guides on my old YouTube channel, and it did fairly well, so I expect Hogwarts Legacy to do very, very well in that regard. Modern Warfare 2, it's probably going to be viewed by millions of people. I do have to transition out of MMORPGs because they don't get the views, they don't get the clicks. They're just not getting... What is up with the shadows on the ground? Look at this. Look, shadow goes away. And it's because it's de-rendering the building. Look, it de-renders the building when I'm out of its sight range, so the shadow disappears. That's interesting. Anyway, please donate me these games. Join my Discord. Talk to me if you want. I greatly appreciate it. I hate to beg for games. I really do. But I don't have a choice. I'm going to starve and die, and I can't continue this channel if I don't move on to a bigger, more popular game, because Albion Online is not making me any money.